Hey, thank you for downloading this initial episode of Rerun It Back, a hastily arranged conversation about old television by two grumpy old Gen Xers, one of whom, myself, watched way too much television as a kid in the 70s and 80s. My name is Jack, and with me is my buddy Scott. Say hi, Scott.
Hi, Scott. How y'all doing? I'm didn't watch nearly as much TV as Jack, but I watched some shows relentlessly, and I also had a really strange obsession with the Disney Channel.
Hey, that's going to be an episode all its own.
They published a magazine every month. For years, I collected them.
Disney Channel magazine?
Disney Channel magazine.
Set.
Future
Okay.
episode discussion.
Future episode discussion.
As you were saying, my friend.
Okay, so yeah, welcome. I don't know. Maybe we do this every week, maybe we don't. I don't know. It's going to be kind of a lovely secret for all of us. We'll just kind of figure it out as we go. As I said, this is hastily arranged, hastily produced, and the quality will show, I think.
I agree. Ready to get started?
Sure. Let's go.
All right.
So, okay, our first topic of this week for this episode is local TV ads that we remember.
Yes.
And I grew up in the Kansas City area. Scott grew up down the road outside St. Louis. And so we each have, memories of small to medium market television ads that were run, which is really the best. I think small to medium market are always the good ones because there's, sort of a splash of amateurism, but there's an element of competence to it. I'm going to stop talking now. Scott, you can take over.
Yes. Well, the other thing, too, is that you have to put yourself back in that period, which is the 1980s, 1970s, maybe.
70s and 80s.
70s and 80s, maybe a little in the 90s. But this is when, the independent UHF channels still existed. And these were the ones that were usually running more of the local ads because they didn't charge as much to get eyeballs. But also, they produced a lot of these ads just as a side business. But they also were on the national, or rather the three main channels as well, which back in the 70s and 80s were probably locally owned, or at least were much more independent than they are today.
So in St. Louis, what was the independent channel in St. Louis?
We had two. So there was KLPR, which was channel 11, and there was channel 30, which was, I cannot remember it to save my life. But yeah, both on the channel 11 was on the VHF, but 30 was on the UHF, I think. And those were the two big independent channels in St. Louis. How about Kansas City?
Okay, in Kansas City, you had KSHB, used to be KBMA, and then they changed their call letters to KSHB sometime in the 80s, and this was channel 41. You might get the Random Royals game on channel 41 if memory serves when they were playing road games because they never broadcast home games, which is, that's another rant entirely. But then in the mid 80s, you had I want to say it was, they later changed I can't remember their callers, but they changed to KSMO, and that was channel 62. And the commercials. I'm going to throw this back to you, but I want you to tell me, and I know you're going to touch on one of these. The one that I never got tired of watching was the Queen of Carpet.
Becky and Wanda.
Becky and Wanda, Queen of Carpet. Tell me about Becky and Wanda.
Okay, Becky's Carpet and Tile Superstore, I think is what it was called. And so this was kind of weird because if memory serves, for a while, it was Becky, who is sort of a brown-haired, heavy-set woman, and maybe her husband. But then, the guy disappeared and Wanda comes in. So Becky is the queen of carpet and Wanda is the princess of tile. And they are dressed in long flowing gowns and they have tiaras and they are on an oriental rug that has been superimposed over an aerial shot of St. Louis. And they're kind of hovering on the screen because, you know, this is what the queen and the princess of carpet and tile bargains do, is they hover over St. Louis and spread their flooring good vibes to one and all at a notable discounts. And that was also definitely on the main channels as well as the independents. So yeah, you're sitting there, you're eating dinner with mom and dad, and here comes Becky and Wanda. Sale on linoleum by the yard, peel and stick tile. Gotta love the double pile carpeting, all at a discount.
Okay, did Becky ever do public appearances?
I don't know. But you see, this is the thing: is they weren't necessarily celebrities that would put in appearances. I mean, I suppose if you wanted to see them in real life, you had to go to their store.
So this was the whole conceit being, we're gonna buy airtime, claim a measure of celebrity, and then use that to try to get people to come in. So if they come in. So, basically what they're doing, they're just using that to lure people in. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
I'd prefer to think of it more as sort of like good old-fashioned American entrepreneurship in its purest sense. Because all of these people, not just Becky and Wanda, but, you know, car dealers, electronics and furniture dealers. You know, these were all locally owned businesses, mom and pops, stores, really, one outlet, maybe two, maybe three. And frankly, I think they did this mainly to save money. There were some that, you know, like Steve and Joe Miserini, the wacky guy who was they sold furniture, or like Uncle Leonard, who ran this little electronics store, you know, and looked kind
Uncle
of like
Leonard.
There was
talking about Uncle Leonard.
Okay, I don't remember too much about him, but he looked a little bit like, I don't know, just a really old man with big nose and long ears, and he'd always have a hat. Leonard Lewis, Uncle, come see Uncle Leonard. I'll give you a discount on electronics. Look at this. I got this guy from the Baseball Hall of Fame. He would get Cardinals players and Blues players to show.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, we were talking
oh, man.
He got Vince Coleman of the Cardinals, and it's we were talking low budget here. You know, they are standing.
Vince Coleman, man.
Yes.
Dude was a ball player.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not to get too bogged down in that, but yeah, that's a bit of a coup to book him.
Yeah. So it's just and they were really low budget. You know, they're standing in front of some display of electronics. It's being shot on videotape. It's cheap as fuck. Okay. You know? Yeah, I mean, this was just and certainly for car dealers. I remember another one. There was Bill Woodrum of Woodrum Oldsmobile in Granite City, and Bill Woodrum was a big fat dude, and one of his commercials. He offered you if we could not offer you the best deal on the car, we will give you $200. And anyway you look at it, and he holds out the money to the camera and he says, and any way you look at it, $200 is $200. But he doesn't just do this. They split it into 4 screens, sort of like Brady Bunch style, and flip and it's echoing and it's very trippy. Yeah. And then my father actually went to go look at an Oldsmobile. And there was Bill Woodrum in the back in the paneled offices, and he was a big fat dude.
So but when it's actually doing the work of selling a car, he takes on the role of the manager who the salesman checks with to make sure, well, I don't know if I can go that low on the sticker price. That's that far below sticker price. I better go check in the back with Bill.
Possibly. My father did not get far enough into the bargaining process for me to
Jesus Christ
let you know. Yeah,
man, that's a brush though. Now, going back to, was it Steve Miserini? Okay. The Sklar brothers do a bit on them on their comedy album Pop in the Hood, which is quite good. And it's that, and they do a whole bit about the Keishi ads.
Well, the Keishi ads are Yeah, that okay. So again, the era of not only classic rock oriented album oriented rock programmed FM, big 70s 80s boomer scene. Again, independently owned radio
Oh,
stations.
oh.
And KSHE was like one of two big classic rock stations in St. Louis. And so this commercial
Good one.
was
If I may say so, it's a good station.
it was a good station. You had KSHE and KSD. I went back and forth. KSHE maybe a little more guitar heavy, but
Yeah.
you got plenty of Kansas and Speedwagon and Journey and Boston and all that shit.
Oh my God.
Anyhow, so
Can I just interject
yeah,
that? I mean, for Gen Xers growing up in a certain part of the country, uh, I think it was quite frustrating, in an era of when, Gen X was beginning to find its own voice culturally. The main platforms for pop culture, stations like KSHE, album rock formatted stations, and in Kansas City it was KY 102. It was dominated by stuff that boomers were listening to.
oh, absolutely.
I mean, so you had Boston, you had Seeger.
I mean, come on,
these
dude,
groups.
Frampton
Oh my
Comes
God.
Alive, man. I mean, all this shit.
It was
And
all, yeah, it was
had
all like,
two mainstream radio was mainly classic rock or top 40 country. And
it was terrible.
The cool kids listened to what they called college radio, which at that point was the radio station run out of one of the local universities. They would play the Smiths and the Cure and New Order and other weird shit. And they were all thought they were hot stuff. And meanwhile, I'm just like rocking out to like, Pink Floyd and just none to
right. No, I'll say like KSHE had a little more of an eclectic playlist just from what I had heard.
Oh, dude, they had like one DJ there, and they would let him on like late Sunday nights do whatever he wanted to do. And for a while, he was like reading chapters out of Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. I shit you not. Yeah,
dude was reading books on a rock station.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Oh man,
yeah,
that's.
Different era, my friend.
Oh my God. Okay, so I mean, I have to say, I think I was going through just in my mental inventory. We're at 13, almost at 14 minutes, so I'll try to keep this quick. Famous last words. I feel like the ads in St. Louis were far superior to the ads in Kansas City. Now, there are some exceptions. And the reason I say this is so like nowadays I will I'm listening to a lot of baseball on the radio, and with the Royals, Royals are one of the teams I'll be listening to, and they'll have a post-game show, which is fantastic, and they're brought to you by Guaranteed Foods, which is this outfit that sells like bulk grocery subscriptions or something. They've been around since like the 50s or 60s. And I had totally forgotten about this, but they play the old jingle. And I will sing it to you now. 888-500-BOF Guaranteed Foods. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. It's like the phone keys doing that. So I am fucking obsessed with this song. And when I say obsessed, I don't mean it in the Gen Z, Gen Alpha way. I am literally obsessed with the song where I will just be mindlessly walking around the house, fucking singing it like it's a mantra or something. So that's one. Another one is Standard Improvement Company. So I'm going to sing that jingle for you now. For better living now and better values later. Call Standard Improvement Company at Westport 17100. So that's another one. And then there's also Midwestern Builders, which that's a sucky jingle. I'm not gonna beat you down with that. But there was also hang on a second. Okay, we'll find out. So there was also a car dealership, and we could almost do an entire show about local car dealerships, and we might. I
think I know where you're going with this one.
Okay, so there was like Boots Williams Ford, 71 highway in that swinging Red Bridge exit. And so there's like Boots Williams, who was kind of the proprietor of said dealership, but he, helping him with all these deals on all these cars was Colonel Billy. And so, like, my mom, my late mother, God rest her soul, big genealogy freak. And she would, like, I don't know how she knew the colonel's name, but she would repeatedly tell me whenever these ads came on, now, you're a distant cousin to Colonel Billy. And which, that's really a connection I should have flexed when I was trying to get a job early on. But yeah, so there's that one. And then there's Ray Adams Toyota, who was just this dude with a beard, totally boring dude, but he was ubiquitous on the airwaves. And again, it's like brush with greatness. When I was out of high school, there was a time, early 90s, I was working at the amusement park in, oh God, we're at 17 minutes. Shit, we're really blowing past this, but I got to tell this story. So, like, Ray Adams, he showed up at the amusement park that I worked at, early 90s. I had a sweet job there, picking up money and taking it in to get processed and all this. And so, we're out in the park, me and this guy I worked with, and the word got out, Ray Adams is in the park, which is just like, you got to be kidding me, man. This is like the Pope. For a guy like me, it was the Pope, which, draw whatever conclusions you want to draw from that. And so I hunted Ray Adams down, because, I was getting paid minimum wage, so who cares? And find this dude, and the only thing I can say to him is the following. Seen you on TV, just wanted to say hi. And he said hi, he was friendly, and he was a little weirded out, which I think is perfectly normal. So, so those are...
He did try to sell you a car.
Well, I mean, I was working at the time, so he knew he wasn't going to try to press, but yeah, so that's my memory of local TV ads. I encourage you, Scott, and I encourage our listeners to get on YouTube and start watching old ads on YouTube.
Yes.
Especially around the holidays. It's one of my favorite things. And just where you're listening to something and then all of a sudden you find yourself knowing the words and the melody just out of nowhere. It's kind of a beautiful thing. That's all I have. Before we wrap this up, Scott, is there anything you want to add?
No, but man, I could talk about this for another hour.
Okay. But we won't.
We won't.
We're keeping this short.
We're going to keep it short. Too late.
Short. Okay. So, yeah. So, have a lovely rest of your day. And yeah, so we're going to try to do this again. So
we're going to try to do this again.
All right. Beta test or whatever. Okay. You had hit stop.